Raw dog food or kibble? Which is the better option for your dog? This debate has been going on for decades. Some people argue that raw is the healthier, happier option for your dog, where other people argue that the kibble is the more practical way for your dog. In this video, we're going to weigh the pros and the cons of both. This video is going to answer what these foods really are, why people choose to feed their dog raw versus kibble, and how you should decide what's right for your dog. To answer the question, what actually are these? Let's start with kibble. Kibble is a dry dog food made by grinding down together meats, grains, vegetables, vitamins, and minerals, and then baking or extruding them into those little crunchy pieces which are highly processed. Kibble is the most common type of dog food because it's cheap, has a long shelf life, and it's convenient for storage and travel. But how healthy is it really? That's where the pros and cons come in. Let's get right into the pros of kibble. Like I said before, it's easy to store and serve. It has a long shelf life, usually to a year or two. It is much cheaper than raw food, and it's fortified with vitamins and minerals, and it could be good for dental abrasion. Now let's talk about the cons with kibble. Kibble often contains fillers and artificial additives. Preservatives like BHT and BHA are horrible for your dog. Kibble can often be less digestible, and some brands use low quality protein as their main ingredient. And lastly, kibble is made at such a high heat that it removes all nutrients out of it. Now that you know what kibble is and the pros and cons, let's dive in right to raw food. Raw means you literally give your dog raw, fresh, unprocessed foods. Usually a mix of meat, bones, vegetables, minerals, vitamins, and all different parts of the animal get mixed up and put into your dog's raw food. Some people make raw food themselves, while others, they'll go to the pet store and buy pre-made raw food from the freezer section. Raw food is supposed to mimic what a dog would eat in the wild like their ancestors did many moons ago, unlike Koda, who would never survive in the wild. So that's pretty much the definition of raw food. Let's jump into the pros and cons. Pro number one, it's much fresher and has less processed ingredients, which is much healthier for your dog. Pro number two, it has a higher moisture content, which is great hydration for your dog. A big pro for us, which made us make the switch, is that raw food is highly digestible for dogs with sensitive stomachs. Feeding your dog raw can improve their skin health, coat health, and overall energy. The last pro is that you have so much more control over your ingredients when feeding raw versus kibble. For example, with Koda's raw food, we include a freeze-dried topper, millet, and flaxseed, stuff that you really couldn't get with kibble. Even with all these pros, there must be cons as well. Starting with, feeding your dog raw can be much more expensive. When we made the switch, it easily doubled our monthly bill for Koda's food, whereas kibble was like $60 to $70 a month. We pay $135 a month for raw food. It requires a lot of freezer space. We buy about 10 to 14 packs at a time, so it takes up a lot of space in our freezer. One of the biggest drawbacks with raw food is the possible risk of contamination. Lastly, it takes a lot more time to prep raw food than it does kibble, especially if you add toppers on it. On average, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get Koda's food ready because we have to wait for our topper to thaw out with the warm water, then we had to add millet and flaxseed, whereas with kibble, you just take a scoop and you give it to your dog. So why do people choose to feed their dog either kibble or raw food? Well, for us, it was pretty easy, and let's dive into our experience. When we first got Koda, we started with kibble. It was easy, it was cheaper, and it was more convenient with the new puppy. But then one day, something happened which forced us to make a change. One day while traveling, Koda had 14 accidents in one day. We immediately took her to the vet, blood work, x-rays, stool samples, about $1,000 later to tell us that nothing was wrong. Bree's mom recommended that we did an allergy test on her from 5 strands to see maybe she's allergic to the food that we're giving her or something out in nature. After getting a few hair samples from Koda and sending them over to their lab, we found out that she was highly allergic to the main protein in the kibble that we were giving her, salmon. In addition to the protein, she was also allergic to the grains in the all-inclusive grain option that we chose, like the whole grain sorghum, brown rice. She was also allergic to a bunch of other things that we would have never thought about. So it was just a literal recipe for disaster. After switching to raw, we immediately saw a change in Koda and her bathroom experiences. If you're a dog owner and you landed on this video and you're unsure what to feed your dog, maybe an allergy test from 5 strands might help. This video is also not sponsored by them. It's just our honest opinion and something that helped our lives with Koda. With raw food comes with various different proteins. You have venison, which is deer. You have beef, chicken, turkey, rabbit, quail. Might be more expensive, but in our opinion, it was worth every single penny because we found something that Koda loves and is not allergic to. Why do people make the switch from kibble to raw? Is there any science behind it? Yes, there is, and let's dive into that right now. Studies show that both raw and kibble can provide a happy, healthy lifestyle for your dog as long as you're nutritionally balanced. The biggest difference often comes down to the ingredient quality, digestibility, and your dog's needs and what they're allergic to. More science facts: raw food can possibly harbor E. coli and salmonella, which puts both the dog and and the human at risk. Kibble, on the other hand, especially those high in carbohydrates, can lead to an excessive weight gain in your dog and lack of energy. And one last important fact from the National Library of Medicine, the reports of health benefits of raw meat-based diets include cleaner teeth, decrease in fecal output, improvement of skin and coat, improved immunity, and decrease in inflammatory related diseases. To wrap up the science of it all, do your research and do what makes you as a dog parent feel more comfortable, because there are both pros and cons with both kibble and raw food. So which one is better for your dog and which one should you choose? The truth is, there's no one size fits all for dog food. That's why there are so many out there. Kibble, raw, freeze-dried food, it gives you so many options. If your dog is thriving on a high-quality kibble diet, lots of energy, healthy skin, healthy coat, and is at a good weight, then there's no reason to switch. But if they're having allergies, digestive issues, and you experienced a similar situation to what we had with Koda, maybe raw food is the best option for you. Or maybe you just want more control of what you feed your dog, then raw option is definitely better for you because you can control what you give your dog. To wrap things up, in our experience, raw has been the best choice for Koda. Hopefully this video helped you answer the question if whether you want to feed your dog kibble or raw food. For Koda, raw has been the best choice that we have ever made. She's happier, she's healthier, she has a great weight, her skin and coat are very healthy, but for your dog, the best diet is what keeps them happy and healthy. Let's leave the choice up to Koda. What is she gonna pick? Always the raw food for Koda. So what do you feed your dog? Kibble or raw food? Let us know in the comments.